Earlier this year, the Trump administration scrubbed CDC guidance on birth control from government websites and froze $65 million in funding to family planning clinics that provide free or low-cost contraception. Despite the president's campaign statements that he does not support a ban on birth control, the moves are seen as part of a growing effort to restrict access to certain forms of birth control and to curtail reproductive rights. For our new series, The Next Frontier, special correspondent Sarah Varney reports on where the anti-abortion rights movement is focusing its efforts after the fall of Roe.
Reeve, you know you're supposed to have a helmet.
Saturdays are a whirl at Ashley Key's home in this Houston suburb. With 3 young sons and 4 dogs, someone is always coming and going. Growing up an only child, Ashley says she always wanted lots of kids.
I love being a mom. I genuinely feel like this was a calling of mine.
She first started taking birth control pills as a teenager to treat chronic migraines. But as Ashley got older, she says it allowed her to safely navigate relationships.
I got to explore dating and, deciding who I wanted to have sex with, who I didn't, and who I trusted to make that decision with.
Today, nearly 47 million women in the U.S. use some form of contraception, and 89% of Americans support access to the pill.
If I weren't on contraception, I could have been a teenage mom, and that would have been insane for me because I had huge goals for my life.
Modern contraception has been central to advancing women's equal status. For example, since the pill was introduced in 1960, female labor force participation increased from 37% to more than 57% today. And for decades, the pill remained uncontroversial with broad bipartisan support.
We are the post-Roe generation!
But once anti-abortion and conservative legal groups secured a major victory overturning Roe v. Wade, they shifted their focus beyond abortion, just as social media has brought once fringe ideas about birth control into the public debate.
Most doctors do not tell us the truth about what can happen to us when we're on the pill.
It's honestly psychotic that our medical system is pretending like you can just temporarily change everybody's cycle.
One of the most influential activists is Lila Rose, founder of the anti-abortion group Live Action. With just over 2 million subscribers to her social media accounts and YouTube channel, Rose is an icon to many young pro-life activists.
Contraceptive methods are all massively unhealthy.
Rose tells her followers birth control brings all sorts of dangers, health risks, divorce, and encourages a hookup culture, which she says can lead to abortion when contraception fails. To be clear, there is no scientific evidence that using hormonal birth control leads to divorce or encourages sexual promiscuity.
I think there is a good counter movement happening right now culturally to reject the hookup culture and to reject kind of this promiscuity, laissez-faire attitude about sex and to say, look, sex is amazing, sex is special. Because it's amazing and special, it belongs in a lifelong, loving, committed relationship, aka a marriage, where if there is a child that comes into the world, there's not this panic, oh, let's go get an abortion. Instead, it's saying, oh, now we can build our family together.
I actually learned a lot when I got involved in the pro-life movement from watching her videos.
Caden Gabriel is a rising junior at Texas A&M in College Station and a member of Pro-Life Aggies. The group doesn't take a position on birth control, but when we sat down with these students, they echoed messages from pro-life influencers like Lila Rose. Grayson Sieben graduated in May.
I was on birth control for like 4 or 5 years, and it totally messed up my cycle because it just gives you fake hormones. And like, if there's any underlying issues, then it doesn't fix them. It just kind of covers them up.
Do you feel like you're seeing more content in your feed that supports that idea? Your beliefs?
Yes, but also I follow a lot of people who are in that same, in the same mindset as me. And so I'm getting a lot of that because I follow a lot of those people.
Hormonal contraception can cause mild side effects, and in rare cases, certain ones that contain estrogen can increase the risk of things like high blood pressure, blood clots, or stroke. But the medications and devices are safe and effective, and the pill has long been shown to reduce the risk of certain cancers, treat the symptoms of endometriosis and uterine fibroids, and prevent anemia.
We will abolish abortion!
The pro-life movement isn't monolithic. Many have no opposition to birth control. Others want to severely restrict certain methods that they believe are the same as abortion.
When it's killing another person, then my right to do whatever I want is trumped by that life because it's a valuable human life.
According to the Food and Drug Administration and major medical associations, hormonal contraception primarily works by stopping a woman's ovaries from releasing an egg. But some pro-life activists claim that any hormonal birth control could prevent a fertilized egg from reaching the uterus, and they consider that an abortifacient. That argument is at the heart of the strategy to outlaw certain contraceptives under state abortion bans, and its leaders are reluctant to talk about it.
If abortion is illegal, for instance, in the state of Tennessee, Texas, a bunch of other places from the moment of fertilization, then therefore, by this logic, there would be vast amounts of birth control that would no longer be legal in the state of Texas or Tennessee.
Yeah, again, if it's a contraceptive, I don't think there's any issue with having it
But I'm
legal.
saying-
If it's designed as an abortifacient, then it is a problem.
But
It's
if,
an
but
abortion.
if, I guess what I'm saying is by your logic,
It's not my logic. This is just the birth control pill insert says it itself. So
right,
this
so
is
by
not
your
like an
logic,
opinion.
those forms of birth control would then be illegal because they would be considered abortifacients.
Yes, if it's also designed as an abortifacient, yes.
So the IUD, emergency contraception, birth control pills would then be illegal.
Again, if they're designed as abortifacients, yes.
The very meaning of abortion has been destabilized.
Mary Ziegler is a law professor at the University of California, Davis. She says states now not only can ban abortion, but also decide how soon after sexual intercourse those criminal laws apply.
We've seen more than 12 states change their definition of abortion in their state statutes since Dobbs. So I think the more people in legislatures are willing to acknowledge that they are changing what abortion means, the more space that creates to include contraceptives in the definition of abortion.
Further introduction by Senator Cash to amend the code related to definitions related to abortions.
A number of states have tried to restrict access to contraception, from reclassifying widely used methods of birth control as abortion to allowing pharmacists to refuse to provide birth control medication on religious or moral grounds, and excluding emergency contraception from state health insurance and sexual assault programs. But anti-abortion victories, like the 2021 abortion ban in Texas, have emboldened activists to go further, focusing on emergency contraception and IUDs.
Texas is known as having a big ego, but we do think that we're critical to the pro-life movement.
At the state capitol in Austin, John Seago, president of Texas Right to Life, says his group treads carefully when it comes to birth control.
There is not some big grand scheme to go after birth control. There are plenty of other areas right now that we want to prioritize. The pro-life movement is built on our principles informed by science of when individual human life begins, and that's where we want the legal protection.
This is not a show vote. It's a show us who you are vote.
In reaction to state-level efforts to restrict access, Democrats have tried twice to codify the right to contraception into federal law, but have been blocked by Republicans.
I think most Americans assume that married couples and single people can use the birth control of their choosing, that that's not the place for the government.
Representative Lizzie Fletcher, a Democrat from Houston, reintroduced the bill earlier this year, but with Republicans in control of Congress, it's unlikely to pass.
The arguments that you're hearing from people in the movement against contraception are really part of a larger movement against our own personal autonomy. This is about our freedom and our rights as Americans to make these decisions.
With 3 boys at home, Ashley Keys has thought a lot about having a girl, but she's scared about what the future might look like for her.
I feel, unfortunately, like it's a double-edged sword. Like, it's either you have to have children because what's wrong with you if you don't want to have children? What kind of woman are you? But then, say you have children at the wrong time and I can't afford this. I need government assistance. I need help. Well, now you're a deadbeat and you shouldn't have gotten pregnant then. So it's like we can never get it right. And it's really sad that we're at this point and that there's so much stigma to everything we do.
And she feels that judgment even now, as an adult, trying to decide if or when to grow her family. For PBS NewsHour, I'm Sarah Varney in Texas.